Today is Thursday, February 9th, 2012. My name is Stephen Beacham.
I am Rafe Needleman.
I am Donald Bell.
And I am Brian Tong. Welcome to CNET's podcast of Indeterminate Length. It is episode 1560.
Ooh.
I am joined here in the house with the boys of BOL. Rafe, coming back,
Howdy.
making the comeback for this week.
Yep.
I appreciate your
I couldn't leave you here
vast
all alone.
knowledge. I know. And also Donald Bell. He's been working it here. We were here last week, right?
I was talking about how much I don't know anything about Pinterest.
Back for more. We will get to your Pinterest comments from the Buzztown Nation.
This is the wrong demographic to be here in this room
Not
to be doing a show about Pinterest.
Not necessarily. I mean, according to our voicemails and emails, that might tell us a little different. But
We'll get
anyways,
there.
guys, thanks for coming to the show. Also, everyone here in the live chat room at live.cnet.com. You guys can interact while we're talking, ask us questions, and just be part of the community. So we appreciate you guys all for coming out there. But we're going to start things off in today's leading headline that you just can't escape. Apple, according to All Things D, will be reportedly unveiling the iPad 3 the first week of March. This will allegedly or purportedly happen here in San Francisco at the Yerba Buena Center of the Arts, where they've typically held their big events. And we're expecting to see something maybe similar in form factor with a new processor, but kind of to support this new revelation that everyone's going crazy for, right? Weren't you kind of like squealing in our pre-show?
I don't squeal.
No,
not in front of other
I think
men.
you were
right?
the
That's
only
right.
one squealing, Brian.
Okay, and it wasn't me.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Jumping
me.
up and down.
What? I mean, what can Apple do? I mean, they can't make it. They can't change the form factor radically. It's just they just got to keep ahead,
With the guts.
keep ahead even more, extend from the Android crowd.
I love how also this is like a rumor that could have been done March of last year when they unveiled the iPad 2 in early March of 2011.
Is there a
My
pattern
prediction,
here?
2012, there'll be an unveiling of the iPad in early March.
That's what the joke was,
It's because
right?
it's because it's coming from All Things D, or it's coming from,
Yeah, it's
So it won't be
Mossberg.
quad core. We're here. First, we heard it was going to be quad core.
may or may not, but it looks like maybe not. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not even gonna throw that around because none of us in this room know.
No,
sure.
we don't know jack about the iPad.
But
3.
there
but
was-
the thing that's interesting to me is, the iPhone 4S came out and it was the best-selling iPhone in the history of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And it was basically a really good upgrade, but it wasn't revolutionary. It was just revolutionarily good. I mean, seriously.
Under the hood.
And the iPad 3, I mean, is it going to be the same thing? Can it do to sales what the iPhone 4S did over the iPhone 4? And I just don't know.
If they drop the price a little, it might.
Which
Which
no,
I'm not saying they
what
will.
they'll
I'm
do
not
is
saying
they'll
they will,
they'll
like
drop the price.
drastically, but
they don't have to do anything. And the worst thing Apple could do would be to screw up the lead they already have established and seem to be like absolutely invincible in face of everyone trying to unseat them in the tablet market.
I mean, what everyone is expecting. I don't think anyone is expecting great, huge things from the iPad 3 from what we've seen in other Apple technology. We're expecting to see a higher density, possibly, a higher resolution display. We're expecting to see Siri integrated and a faster processor and possibly a better camera. If that's what they bring to the table, that's good enough.
Yeah.
Like, really. I don't think anyone's going to say that you're going to have the people that haven't purchased an iPad yet that were waiting over the Christmas season.
Everyone will
Everyone's gonna do it.
complain, but it'll still be the highest selling iPad
Exactly.
that Apple's
Exactly.
ever
It's
had.
true.
It'll be
It's
the
true.
iPad 2S is what it'll be.
iPad HD, who knows what they're going to call it. So
Now, then they will drop prices, by the way, on the iPad 2.
for that
So
month.
you'll have $50. They'll have literally like 18 different models of iPad as there are right now, and $50 between each one. So no matter what,
I was researching yesterday what the current going price is for a refurbished iPad 1 is. And the lowest price, like the 16 gig model, is still like $340.
Huge resale
way,
value.
really?
Huge
Yeah.
resale value.
I
Yeah, it's still,
I have an
there's still a
iPad
market.
1.
Right.
There's I mean, if you just even, like you said, scour eBay, there's a crazy aftermarket for just Apple products across the board.
Yeah, there was a survey done recently that showed that I don't know the exact numbers, but the resale values of smartphones that were exactly the same age was like twice as high for iPhones versus Android phones. It's like the Toyota Camry of phones. It's like you can't go wrong.
I resold my iPhone 1 for the same price I bought it for.
Yeah.
I think it was like $200 or $300.
You just didn't have to get locked in a contract.
Yeah.
Yeah. So also, if you guys want to take a peek at what this iPad 3 might look like, it seems like there's a fire sale on the iPad 3 rear housing that's been popping up everywhere in multiple sites in different forms. So, Donald, you did a little story about this. You want to
and
talk
I
about
wanted
it
to make
bit?
an iPad butt joke out of it being the rear of the iPad, but I didn't seem in good taste.
iPad. I wanted to
So
start.
I thought I'd mention that I thought about it here, where good taste is not.
Well, we
really-
have some iPad 3 booty shots.
Right. There you go. That could have been the headline, but no. It looks like
I see you've got all the pimples there.
it's got all the pimples, right? The pimples are circled. The circled pimples are there as the evidence that the different shape of the internal, the inside of the back panel here shows that the little screw holes that would hold the logic board onto the back panel here is smaller, which would lead you to think that it's not using the same, processor.
Smaller scaled down
hopefully an A6 processor.
Yeah.
It's also leading some to believe that it's not going to be a dual core or quad core processor because the size would not allow for that. But then it would also mean bigger battery, different camera because the actual camera location is carved out in a different way. But yeah, you can read the tea leaves here and get some idea that it's going to be a different panel, different camera, different processor, bigger battery.
I think ultimately the big thing is it's the form factor pretty much, other than a few tweaks externally like the camera, looks unchanged. But
and also unchanged
It's a
thickness.
rectangle.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
but even more on this topic, see, they move the camera just enough so that you're still gonna have to buy new cases,
Of course,
new
right.
accessories. It's part of how they do things with this whole ecosystem. So, anyways, we're only 4 weeks away. First week of March. Mark it on your calendar. Get excited. Or whatever. Open up your wallet. And last year, the iPad 2 came out about a week or a week and a half after their announcement. So there might be similar timetable, but there is no official or no one has found out when they will really be bringing the hardware to the market. So that's the Apple stuff. On to kind of some other great things and things changing up in the media streaming business. Yesterday, there were reports earlier in the week that this was going to happen, but Amazon wrapped up a deal with Viacom, bringing content from networks like MTV, Nickelodeon, Comedy Central, VH1, and more, and really, bottom line, 2,000 new titles to their Amazon Prime instant video service, which has now grown quite nicely. And yes, they're knocking on Netflix's door with their integration of this in the Prime service.
Yeah, and also ties into the Kindle Fire, for the streaming on demand integration there. So it's another thing that Amazon can brag about compared to the competition. Now, what I still would love them to do is to release an Amazon Video app that can be downloaded onto other Android tablets.
Yeah, what I would like is an Amazon Video app for my iPad.
Right.
I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
But I mean, seriously, just the other night I was like, and I've got all this whole new entertainment crap in my house, a new TV and Roku and all that. But I wanted to watch Drive.
Oh yeah.
In bed, and that is the iPad device. And that's the
Right.
I don't have a TV in my bedroom because that's
I don't have tech
trashy,
in my bedroom,
but I do have an iPad. Right. And the one and Drive is only available. Drive isn't available on Netflix, but it is on Prime for rental. But there is no way to stream. It's just that's not going to happen though, is it? I'm going to have to get a Fire.
We'll see what Amazon could do because they've been really liberal about putting their apps on other platforms. Although you can't rent directly from the app, I wouldn't be surprised at least if you could see an Amazon Prime app that's only for the free content that's streamed, just like Netflix, because Netflix does it, right? You have that subscription. You just have to plug in, get access to the app. They could do that, but when it comes to rentals of new content, it'll probably be a thing where you have to go to their website, it unlocks it, and then you can use the app at least to view it, but the transaction won't happen within the app. They could do that.
You can just go to the website and do it.
Exactly, but they could do that.
Yeah, they could. The question is, does Amazon want to sell Fires or do they want to sell content?
Yeah.
If they want to sell content, they got to put as much of it as possible on the iPad. I mean, they have a Kindle app for the iPad, which is great. I use it all the time. But they don't have a streaming viewer for the iPad yet. Come on, Amazon. There's a lot of people out there who would buy your content, and they're not going to buy a Fire.
Absolutely. So Amazon and Viacom hooking up in other...
Thread hijack, sorry.
Thread hijack?
Okay. Good. I like it.
Okay. In other streaming media news, HBO has decided to invest in a Netflix kind of a lookalike from Australia. They call themselves QuickFlix, and that's deserves a chuckle because remember Netflix initially had announced their Quickster service for DVDs. Netflix's name is Netflix. Take the two together, and what do you get?
QuickFlix.
QuickFlix. So Netflix hasn't established a market in Australia yet, but this is part of HBO at least looking to experiment and getting involved in creating their own streaming service. Netflix even intimated, Reed Hastings in December, that HBO and Netflix would possibly in the future look a lot like each other. This is a step into that direction. We've seen HBO at the moment offer their HBO Go service, right, as a complimentary piece if you have a subscription, but having a standalone streaming service obviously would change the game for them and make them a even more direct competitor.
And we've also seen Netflix step into making their own content too, right? So.
Yeah, with some of those deals. We haven't seen them yet, but hopefully we'll start seeing some of that stuff in the next maybe 6 months to a year.
Well, everybody's moving in this direction. I mean, it's just a matter of time. Broadcast TV is going to go away at some point. It's all going to be bits. And the streaming model is the right model. It's just the transition is really difficult because it's expensive, and you've got the whole company's whole business is set up for one way, and to move to the other way just is really hard. But I can't wait. I just think it's great. Go HBO and do me a favor, HBO. Make what is it? HBO Go.
Yeah.
Make that available without having to also have a cable subscription.
Well, that's the hook right now. That's the hook right now, right? We know that. The other thing that with all of these things shifting, we're right now in the transitional period. But once these apps start coming out and people transition to using these apps or getting access to these services, I've got to wonder if we'll eventually start seeing data caps on our actual cable service. Our home service. If everything we start doing becomes streaming, the natural progression for those companies is to now put in data caps if that's how we're consuming our content. I mean, it sounds crazy, but it could happen.
It could
down the line. This is down the line 3-4 years maybe.
No, we'll have the argument again about blocking the internet, and then the cable guys will want the services that they're invested in to come through, for free or with not counting towards your caps, and then it'll be the whole what do you call that? Stratifying the internet, or
the different tiers. You mean, kind of the program tiers.
Or it could be something where there's peak hours. Maybe you could have some service that downloads or caches your predicted content that you're going to want to watch on off-peak hours, and then you could watch it back later.
The thing is, if all you're doing is watching, this is going off the rails.
I like it.
If all you're doing is watching,
let's make the news
content. 1 or 2 shows at a time for 3 or 4 hours at a time during it, and that's being generous in a house. That's a lot of data, but it's not that much of a lot of data. So it should be an amount of data that would fit under any reasonable cap. A couple of 100 gigabytes or something over a month, with as bandwidth increases. This should not be a problem. We're not talking about downloading the entire 500 channels at once because you don't need to. You just want to stream what you're watching live. It shouldn't be that hard.
Here's the thing, it shouldn't be the problem, but you even look at how we've seen the cell carriers and how they do their data caps, but also when you look at something like, okay, text messaging technically shouldn't be charged additionally because it's using the same network, right?
Right.
Cable and downloading these movies or these services in the future, it shouldn't be a problem. But it doesn't mean they're not going to split them.
Yeah, I mean, if the question is, will Comcast find a way to screw us in the future? I think the answer is yes. I was making the argument they're not going to try to, go down screaming and clawing.
I'm not so sure they will. I mean, the internet is not. The service, the internet service providers, Verizon, Comcast goes for the wired connections. I mean, they're a little evil, and the carriers, though. I mean, that's a whole different level. They've leveled up into new. I mean. $10 an SMS or 10 cents an SMS, and that's just wrong. So I don't know. I mean, I have Comcast, and it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, if we look in the chat room, we have one of our people in the chat, Shadar, saying with a family of 4, and that's the thing that to consider, right? With some of these larger families, they're already going over their 150 gig per month limit. So it's as we transition. I mean, it's realistic that will change, but we'll see. I mean, all these things, these are all wheels that are moving in that direction. Another streaming little story that we have here, Verizon teaming up with Redbox. Redbox is known for their DVD kiosks, DVD and Blu-ray kiosks that you can find like at grocery stores or near 7-Eleven. They're teaming up with Redbox to offer a video streaming service that they're hoping to launch sometime in the second half of 2012, an on-demand video streaming service. Verizon will own 65% of the new joint venture. Redbox will own the rest. And Redbox is owned by parent company Coinstar, who not only owns those kiosks, but also those cool little coin redemption. I've actually used those a few times.
Yeah, I gotta pay that Comcast bill somehow.
Right.
So, this Verizon, if they integrated this into their phones, because we know how Verizon loves to litter their mobile phones with Verizon apps.
No kidding.
And for the most part, it's been pretty crappy. Anyone will tell you that of the delivery method, even the quality in general. This would be another kind of Verizon's already killing it with their 4G network. And if they start rolling this out, in addition, it's just another reason to jump on board with them. Right?
To get Verizon as opposed to
AT&T.
I don't know.
Sprint.
I still want my my media service company to be different from my pipe company.
Well, it's okay to be different, but just the fact that what if Verizon says we offer X amount of programs for free? Maybe not, but let's just say as part of being a Verizon user, they have the best 4G network right now. It's one of those things where when push comes to shove and someone's looking at carriers, they might say,
"Oh yeah, it's a good move for Verizon."
You know? So
it could be like Amazon's free video on demand stuff for people who are Prime members.
Yeah, it would be an interesting play. So also, just in a kind of a related story of also Coinstar and the whole Redbox phenomena, they also they purchased all of Blockbuster's kiosks because Blockbuster themselves have had their own kiosks. They've been struggling revenue-wise. Redbox has agreed to buy their entire collection. It was a deal for $100 million to acquire those branded kiosks. Currently, they added around 9,000 machines with this deal to its existing 35,000 machine base. Redbox has really been the one that has seen progress in DVD rentals when the industry as a whole has dropped 12%. For combined DVD and Blu-ray sales, we dropped 12%, but everyone's renting these things for like $1.50 a night, something crazy like that. So Redbox not only physically increasing their footprint, but also eventually getting into the streaming business.
That's
smarty pants.
Yeah,
it's smarty pants.
Eventually, those kiosks go away, but they're writing.
How long though?
Oh, who knows? But I don't know.
I'm saying if you.
But eventually they have to go away. They're just riding the curve, riding it down.
I don't know. That could be one of those things where the kiosk is always there. There's something magical.
I do. I do use
about a kiosk.
I use them.
Yeah.
I do use them.
Okay.
I'm just saying I wouldn't think that I might be the quote unquote typical customer because I'm so whatever.
There's nothing
digital
typical about you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
My mom told me that too.
That's nice.
But the convenience of it, it's pretty slick.
Yeah.
I don't have to wait for Netflix.
You know what's really convenient? Lying back on the couch with Cheetos propped up on your belly and going.
You put Cheetos on your belly?
No, I'm just saying that would be convenient.
I don't want to see that or imagine that.
Just picture it right here. This big fleshy belly.
covered in delicious cheesy powder.
Cheeto dust.
Oh, God. Don't lick your fingers right now.
And
throw up.
And just with your Cheeto-y fingers just on the remote, which is all encrusted. You go click by, and you're watching TV. That's awesome. Going out to who wants to go out of the house? Forget it.
It's a beautiful image. Beautiful image. Also, getting out of the streaming business, and this was kind of a little surprise. Paul McCartney is removing all of his tracks from his collections from Spotify, Rdio, and Rhapsody just a few days after releasing his new album, lovely titled "Kisses on the Bottom."
Kisses on the bottom
of your iPad. I don't understand this unless this has got to be a negotiating move because this makes absolutely no sense for a musician in the modern world.
Well, that's what we thought. And Donald brought up something in our pre-show.
Just in my own little experiment with my own band, I get reports from TuneCore that handles all of the getting music to all the different digital download sites. And iTunes money, the money you make off of selling even one track off of iTunes is so much more than what you get off of the half of a penny off of any kind of stream from any of these other services. The promise is, of course, that once people get hooked on streaming services, that then, artists can push and demand a better royalty from these people. But as it exists now, it's just little minor percentages of a penny to get a song streamed off of something like Spotify. Yeah. It'll take somebody like a Paul McCartney saying no, this is a joke, in order for I think artists to get a better percentage of a streaming royalty. Right.
Okay. So it is a very visible way to say, look, the streaming services are not good for musicians.
Right.
iTunes was. Streaming, not so much.
Streaming, not so much. I mean,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was just kind of think when I first read this, I was thinking under the same thing. Like, why would they just pull out all of a sudden?
I'm paying $9
Doesn't
a
make
month
sense.
for Spotify, and it's not helping musicians.
No.
That chaps me, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not happy about that.
The promise, I think, for musicians, for up and coming musicians, is that services like Spotify have a much better viral kind of reach, where
Right.
people see that you're listening to this artist and they want to go check it out. But someone like Paul McCartney doesn't need like a viral campaign to get him popular or people listening to his music.
Yeah, he can afford to do this. Good
Yeah.
for you, Paul. In that case, good for you, Paul.
Also, just as a heads up, in case I thought it might have been related, but it looks like it may not be necessarily. Paul McCartney is also doing a live concert exclusively through iTunes and the Apple TV later today, as of this Thursday. I think it's around somewhere like 7 p.m. or something like that. So anyways, if you're interested, you can check that out for free.
That's cool.
Yeah, so
I still don't want anyone catching me listening to an album called Kisses on the Bottom. I'm sorry. Sir Paul.
Sir Paul.
Not going to happen.
I jumped ahead, but this is also it is important to mention that the end of an era, Kodak, which we had talked about, who filed for bankruptcy earlier to try and save their business, Eastman Kodak has announced today that has put an end to its camera business by the end of June of this year. Kodak expects to phase out its digital cameras.
You know what's
Its
interesting?
pocket camcorder.
Kodak was never a camera company.
Yeah.
There's always been a film company. Now, Kodak did make cameras. They made a lot of cameras.
Yes.
But it was the razor and razor blade model. They were always to push their film business. And digital killed film, obviously. So what does a camera company do when it's set up basically to make money from consumables? Does this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They plan to focus heavily on their brand licensing. Not sure how much that's going for right now, but also really more than anything, they're trying to attract companies that might need some of their patents. Kodak will still offer their Kodak Gallery online service and their retail-based photo printing. Its inkjet printers will remain on shelves.
Yes, for a long, long, long time.
So, sad news to hear, but it's just the way the industry is changing. So say goodbye to your Kodak little Z camera, the little portable play sports and all that. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we have plenty of Google news, Google playing in the cloud, even some more. Also, Path, it's a little few days after everything went down, but what actually happened with that? And Steve Jobs and the FBI. They wanted to know a little bit about him back in the day. We'll talk about all that when we return. All right, guys, welcome back to Buzz Out Loud. Joining me in the house this week, Mr. Rafe Needleman here and smiling. Donald Bell in the house as well as also Mr. Stephen Beacham running the boards.
Howdy. Good morning.
I was pumping you up a little more than that. Woo! There you go. All right, back to the stories, guys. We have a little bit of Google news in the Google block. Google is close to launching a cloud storage service rivaling Dropbox, according to the Wall Street Journal. This is like Dropbox, Google's service. They're going to call it Drive, and it's their response to the internet-connected mobile devices and storage space for your files and documents and get them anywhere, anytime.
Now,
Rafe smiling.
I find this so curious. I've written a lot about synchronized Dropbox competitors, CX, SugarSync, Box.com now. And the thing about this business is that it's terminal. I mean, it's still growing, but you can see the cliff where it all crashes because everybody is saving things more and more. We've got Spotify for streaming music, we hope. Your documents are stored in Google Docs. Your photos are being stored on Picasso or wherever, and new cameras are coming along that automatically upload your photos. Your videos are being streamed over the web. The only thing that you really, really need in the future, so far, that you only really, really need local storage for is home movies. And even that, over time, goes away. So the need to have a, quote, file storage system, it's a terminal business. And I find it so interesting that everybody's chasing it.
Well, even Google has their music locker service, too. It was Music Beta for handling your music. So yeah, it is one. I mean, if it's just, it's not. I was gonna say like a mega upload or something like that. If you want to share a movie, like a full length pirated movie with somebody else, that's a different story. There's a different service for that.
I mean, for myself, because I do use Google Docs sometimes, primarily at work, but for my personal stuff, I do use the Dropbox. But I don't see that. I mean, more and more people, once they realize, Google Docs has gotten a lot better. It's a more than usable and capable service. And yeah, sometimes it has its little hiccups here and there, but for the most part, it's a completely usable service. I'm one of the few people that still use this Dropbox thing once in a while, but there's really no need to, per se. Not a high need for it. There's other ways you can go about. Why not just email your file to yourself and get it from anywhere, any place too?
Right now, Dropbox and all the competitors to it are really valuable and useful. It's just things are changing, and I think Google's doing the right thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that people are still. I mean, for the next 5 years, people are still going to be file based. It's just eventually we'll reach a point where that slows and starts to decline.
Yeah.
And maybe Google wants to get in and become the infrastructure for all these apps like Evernote, Drink, to store their data someplace centralized instead of in their own servers. I mean, they'll do an S3-like thing where new businesses can use the Google infrastructure for storage. I don't know.
The scarier thing... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it comes right into play with Android, too. Like, if it's something that Apple's offering, like a certain amount of, cloud-based storage immediately when you pop open and boot up your iPhone. I mean, I think Google would want that same service just on a competitive basis.
The interesting thing about this is, as an Apple user, they had their whole Mobile Me service, and one of their aspects was an iDisk, where you uploaded files. You could get them from anywhere from a PC or Mac. They're actually removing that aspect of their service, while others are bringing it on because they've seen people are migrating to Dropbox. The big thing here is for companies like Dropbox and the others that you mentioned is that Google name. And the fact that people are already doing Google Docs, I mean, I would suspect for me, I'm probably going to pull my stuff off of Dropbox and just throw it into my Google Docs.
It won't be so easy. Dropbox is pretty well entrenched. It won't be so easy to pull your stuff off of Dropbox because so many interesting new web services are getting Dropbox baked in. And that's which is Dropbox's brilliance is they're like they open up the APIs. I personally like SugarSync a whole lot better as a single product, but Dropbox has done a much better job ingratiating itself and worming its way into the new Web 2.0 infrastructure.
So, we'll see. Good. Google's just, they have their hands in everything. Why not, right?
Right.
Really?
Well, they got to do it, yeah.
Also, in other Google stories, this one made me laugh because, everyone's looking to make a little extra money. The economy's kind of turning around a little bit. Google wants to help you with that by, according to a report, they'll pay you to track the websites you visit. Yeah, if you'd like that, that's what they're planning to do. The search giant is promising up to $25 in Amazon gift cards if you let them track the websites you visit and how you use them through a project known as ScreenWise. It's an extension that you install into your browser, specifically the Chrome browser, that monitors every site you check in and out of.
Oh, yeah, I'm installing this right away.
$25 in Amazon gift cards?
I'll tell you what.
Sign me up.
When my kid turns like 10, 11, 12, then I'm signing up for this so I can see what he's doing.
You can't, but Google will.
Oh, well, forget it. Yeah.
Well, guys, unfortunately, this article was posted early this morning. The demand for this has been so large that you can't, at the moment, get into their ScreenWise page.
I don't get this.
And
$25 to have your privacy completely ripped apart.
Saying.
I just don't get it.
But you know what? The sick twisted,
my privacy is worth a lot more than that.
The sick twisted part about it is there's a lot of people that still don't value that. Right? To them, it's like $25. Surf the web. I'm okay with that.
Let's not make fun of it. This is actually how we're all going to make money in the future. We'll all be Google's little slaves, and we're going to drive our Google Map cars around to be able to give updates to Google Maps. With our Google branding on the side, and we'll wear our Google T-shirts, and we'll have Google live feeds.
You're absolutely right, and it just paints a picture of why are we here. Next week on Existential Chat.
So, also the ScreenWise kind of initiative or program that they have going on extends even further. In return for collecting website data on every PC in your home by installing a data collector router. In addition to the Chrome extension, Ars Technica says Google is also planning a program that will pay you $100 just for signing up, and then $20 a month for as long as you'll participate to kind of cover some of those cable modem fees that you're paying off.
I'm sorry.
Like people willing to, I mean, you're selling a little bit of your soul to Google to enable them to come inside your home and look at all this stuff.
Look, this just in.
Crazy.
Google's going to pay you $200 if they can send somebody to your house to take your blood.
Right.
Stupid.
Wow.
Please pee into this Google cup.
That's right.
Limbs
are giving you $1,000 for a finger.
FYI, the ScreenWise program is strictly opt-in.
For now.
We've seen Google kind of entrench in how they're dealing with customers' privacy, and privacy is a hot buzzword and issue right now in the tech sector. But wow, the fact that people are more than willing to do this kind of boggles my mind a little bit. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad. It's sad more than anything. Not confuses me, but it's sad.
I guess it is interesting that we have this dual nature where we on one side completely criticize Google for invading our privacy, and then on the other side we jump at the chance to have them do it for $20 gift card.
Well, it shows
for those people.
You're right, Donald. You're absolutely right. I mean, it does show the real difference between what we as pundits, kvetch about, and what people out there in the real world really care about. We are in a bit of a bubble here, and what we say is important to other people. Like $25 for nothing, sure, why not?
I guess I think the only part that upsets me is that that my privacy is worth so little. Like if the privacy is the thing I'm defending to the end until the right price comes along, the $25 Amazon gift card, you can do better than that, people.
You know what? You're actually raising a very valid point, which is that Google's data is going to be a little bit skewed towards people who view their privacy as not being worth very much. So all those super high value people like you would be like, no, my privacy is worth more than that. So Google's not going to know what people are really doing because guys like you are going to be saying, no way.
Steven, we're harping on this. Would you do it?
I would not do it. No, I don't. But this is only for like a certain amount of time, though? Only for like a week that they'll track you or something?
Well, that was it. But then they said that the extension of that is a program where they install a router and then you get $100 and then $20 per month to be a part of this more long term. That's what they're.
Yeah, that sounds annoying. I don't think I would ever.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Nano monitors in your drinks. When they say drink the Kool-Aid, they're going to mean it.
Right.
All right. Also, just in a quick little update with Google. In the Google world, you probably already heard that they finally released their Chrome browser for Android devices. Very nice. And in addition to that development, I haven't been able to play with it, so I really don't have any comments.
I have it. It's really good.
You like it?
It's fast. It's awesome.
As Chrome should be.
Yes. I put it on my my Galaxy Nexus Super Prime, whatever it was.
Because we should also say it's only for ice cream sandwich. Right now.
Yeah.
And how's the tab browsing? You like it?
Yeah, it's good interface, and I like the fact that the bookmarks that I have already synced between my PCs over Chrome Sync are now on my browser. That's kind of sweet.
That is pretty slick.
I mean, on my mobile. I like
also, just FYI, Chrome for Android also will not be getting any Flash support. In case you were wondering why maybe some of those little fashion sites that you visit, Rafe, weren't running properly.
Yeah, it was really eating at me.
Yeah, so but you can pin pictures of clothes that you want instead.
Okay. I'll just go to your Pinterest. It's so populated. It's got everything there.
I only put 2 little tech goodies on my Pinterest. I'm trying to refuse or somehow make my clothing Pinterest board private. I don't want people to see that, but I want to collect.
You don't want people to see what you wear?
I don't.
Then why do you dress like that?
I know. Well, because you don't know about Brian Tong's Gothic Lolita thing.
Oh, yeah, right.
That's totally private. That I should not have actually brought up on the show. Now that I'm thinking about it.
That was actually special access I gave you.
Goth Lita?
Yes. All right. We talked a little bit about privacy, Rafe.
Yes, sir.
You've been writing a lot about this whole.
Oh God, I thought I was done with the Path story.
You aren't done with it, but let's just talk about Path and the whole iPhone address uploading. But just what summarize and kind of some of your thoughts.
Okay, so Path is this little social network. It's a very private social network, if that makes any sense. So it's for sharing real intimate moments. Like I got up at this time, I arrived at this airport.
Like you go to sleep.
By intimate, I don't mean it in that way, pervert.
I wasn't saying intimate. Just the
know. So with your close friends, and it's a very popular service. It's a very beautiful and very good service among the geek elite. Now, the problem that Path had is that in order for a social network like this to grow, you really want to know when your friends join up or when they're on board. So what Path was doing was when you installed the iPhone app, they were taking your iPhone address book and uploading it to the Path servers so they could do matching when new people joined that were in your address book, and then they would, send you a way to have them join up. That's how they helped the network grow. But the problem was they didn't ask their users if they were okay with Path storing a copy of their iPhone address book. And when that was revealed, they got in big, big, big trouble among people who care about such things.
Not those people giving up their web browsing activities to Google. They wouldn't care.
Yeah.
At least give us a $25 gift card for that.
That's right. Yeah, they're venture funded. They could afford it. Anyway, so what happened was Dave Morin, the CEO of Path, put up a blog post saying, "We are so very, very sorry. We are putting up a new version of Path, which makes this an opt-in, and furthermore, we're deleting all of the data that we have downloaded from you guys, from our users. We're just wiping it all out. So if you want it up there, you have to start over and authorize it." It's just the story, and then it played out that earlier in 2010, he had said, "We do not upload or store any data." And then Gawker put up a story saying he's a big fat liar. Of course, at the time that he wrote that mail saying we don't do that, they weren't actually doing it. That came later.
So that came later with the newest release.
The guy can't cut a break. I mean, what's interesting about this is that what he did was wrong, and it actually technically may have violated the terms of service that Apple has with its developers. Apple, of course, didn't do much to protect that from happening. I mean, they do protect location data, but they don't protect contact data in the same way, so they'll probably change that. It's just been a bad day. It was a really bad day for Path.
Yeah, we put up a little poll on the article that you wrote after their apology about how people would be reacting to this, and the options were, is Path's apology enough? It's enough for me, thanks Dave. B, no, I'll never trust Path again. C, I don't see what the fuss was about. And after voting with this, kind of smaller sample size, but still good enough, 55% people of the respondents said, no, I'll never trust Path again.
Yeah, see, people
don't like that.
They don't like they don't like opaqueness. Path should have been way more clear about what they were doing and why. They were just running so fast they got ahead of themselves, and it was a big mistake.
And it's hard. I doubt that they intentionally tried to do that, like maliciously. I don't know.
No, look, I've interviewed Dave Morin, who's the CEO of Path, and I really believe from talking to him and seeing what he's been trying to do and watching Path be developed, that he is actually trying to build a good service and not trying to steal people's data. That's not what this company is about. However, he screwed up.
Yeah,
and people are not very forgiving on the net, especially when they can hide behind pseudonyms and say he's a rotten jerk. Just let it go.
Are you all for real names on the internet?
I think Facebook is onto something with that.
All right. Also, if you want to talk about identifying yourself, knowing who you really are, if you guys heard about this story, the FBI did a background report back in the day around 1991 on Apple co-founder Steve Jobs, the late Steve Jobs, after he was considered for an appointment on George H.W. Bush's President Export Council. So they've released some of the actual report. It's a long report, and I don't know if it necessarily revealed anything we didn't know about Jobs, but everyone kind of had a little fun with it, just the fact that he could have been on the Export Council.
He would have been great.
Well, what was the question? The number one, the thing that kind of came out of this is when they directly asked him, "Are you a communist?"
I'm surprised that. I mean, I saw that in the PDF there. I'm surprised that is still a question that we ask people, but that's not for a topic for this show.
I like how it's an X mark yes or no with an X box right there.
That's like a RICO thing. Have you evaded any taxes? It's like, I don't know.
Have you ever been? Have you ever been a member of any type of group or organization which plans to overthrow our government? Well, Apple's worth more than our government right now, so
pretty much.
He could have probably said yes on that one. So, anyways, it's like a 50-page report if you really want to look at it all. I chose not to.
It's fun. It's your tax dollars at work. They could have just read the Isaacson book. They would have said, but this was 10 years ago.
That was a long time ago. 20 was it? 20 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. 91.
How little he has changed. Had changed. Sorry.
All right, guys. We got a little bit of science news to you, brought to you by our buddy Stephen Beecham.
Science. So this is a very interesting story. Some scientists and researchers at the University of Berkeley, headed by Brian Paisley, have discovered how to read people's minds and convert convert their brain waves into actual audible sound.
Most people never do that.
Yeah. I can't read minds, but I think in the future we're going to be able to read minds. So basically, they've been able to isolate in the brain where we actually hear different frequencies. So our brains process different frequencies. Like there's one specific part of our brain that'll like hear 1,000 hertz, and another part that'll hear like 5,000 hertz. So they've been able to manipulate that into actually producing an audible sound. So I actually have a sound of them reading someone's brain. So I'll play that for you right now. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. That is not sound. That is a commercial.
Well.
But anyway, so
this is your brain on alcohol, right?
Yeah. So basically, here it is right here.
Waldo? Structure. Doubt. Property.
So that is the computer interpreting someone's thoughts and turning it into an audible sound that you can hear and perceive and make out.
So was
That's
was the first part what the actual person said, and then they played how the brain actually interpreted that inside his head, right? So the clear one was
talking, and then the computer is reading their brain waves and repeating it back to them.
What were they hooked up to do this? Were they in a scanner of some sort?
Yeah, I think they just electrodes and like just tons of wires and cables. I'm not exactly sure. They don't really go into that into the article, but it is thought police are coming soon. So I mean, the cop's gonna look at you and be able to scan what you're thinking. So
I like the metaphor they use for it too, where if it was like a musician looking at someone playing the piano, but the sound was off, the musician would be able to detect just by what notes were being played visually what the sound would be. So that's kind of the same way they're making the connections between, seeing the actual electrons.
Yeah, they're saying so. Like,
brain.
if when you read a sentence, if you just read it and you don't say it out loud, your brain produces the sound inside your head. So you're like hearing yourself talk.
Right.
So that's what they're trying to isolate here and create into an audible sound. So
next week, Google will pay you to wear the electrode cap on your head so that they can hear your thoughts.
Wait, guys.
You read my mind.
Wait, guys, be quiet. I'm hearing my brain thing.
Gonna record
Getting
your
anything
brain.
there, Brian?
It's just all blank right now, but I'm trying. All right, guys. We want to hear what you guys have to say about our show. Last week, we asked you about Pinterest. We got a lot of responses, so let's just see what we have in the feedback loop. We were trying to figure out who Pinterest really is for. Some people say women. Some people say guys. A lot of people say women. But we have some voicemails from Aaron in Champaign and others of you that will help us clear this up.
Hey guys, Aaron from Champaign. I was calling in regards to last week's show, or I guess this week's show, about Pinterest. I had just heard about it here not too long ago, but I'm actually getting married in about 6 months, and my fiance has been using Pinterest like a crazy woman to figure out like a design for our wedding invitations, for centerpieces for the tables, different ideas for cakes and all this other stuff. So like our whole wedding is almost being planned by Pinterest. So I'm not into it. Some of the craft stuff that people at church and friends are doing are kind of cool, but not exactly a dude thing. So just wanted to give you my 2 cents on Pinterest. Love the show.
Let's not make too many assumptions. Crafts can be dude things.
I build model rockets with my kids.
That's what I'm saying. Isn't that considered DIY? I mean, that's what another reader wrote in. DIY craft stuff is big on Pinterest as well. What other things do you craft? Are you a scrapper? You in a scrapbooking, Rafe?
not
You
so much.
look like a scrapper.
I'm not.
You
very
don't do
scrappy.
scrapping?
I'm not, no.
Okay.
It sounds very kind of dirty the way you say it.
I did not. Donald, scrapping?
No, not so much, but I do feel like a lot of the DIY project stuff for dudes, there's already like Instructables and Make Magazine and that kind of, I don't know why I would need a separate site to be able to
There's
collect
something
look
about
at
the
it.
way Pinterest is like a pin board. You tag
cork
stuff
board.
up there. And by the way, go to Pinterest.com, Pinterest.com/CNET. Somebody here set up a CNET Pinterest page, which is kind of cool. There's something about the design.
Yeah,
I'm
gotta
going to
agree
get
with
flamed
that. I
on
gotta
this.
agree
I'm
with
going to
that.
get totally flamed on this. There's something about the interaction design, the UX,
I
the user
agree.
interaction design, that really appeals to women.
Wait.
It does. It's the demographics
Really?
bear it out. And flame me as much as you want. It just, look at the numbers. It is huge.
I was going to agree with you.
I don't know why.
I was going to agree, and I thought you were going to say that you like the UI.
I think it's a beautiful UI, but I never use it.
Yeah.
It doesn't appeal to me at a basal ganglia level. It's like, yeah, okay, but it is working in the other demographic, and it's really, really interesting to see that how big a difference there is there.
Yeah. All right. We have another call from a gentleman who wants to tell us how he feels about Pinterest.
Hey guys, just want to let you know, love the show. My wife just showed me Pinterest during the Super Bowl. Don't have any interest in Pinterest. I'm not actually a dude. And my wife described it as great ideas that girls can give one another. So there you go. Have a good one.
I feel like Molly would have to say something when the guy had to clarify. Yeah. I'm actually a dude. I think we got that. Just letting you know. Okay.
Thank you.
Also, someone else has called in to say he might have found what the purpose of Pinterest really is.
Hey guys, just want to tell you what I thought about Pinterest. I tried to join, but you have to be part of Facebook or Twitter, and I didn't want to have all that noise in my life. But my girlfriend daily is wanting me to build something that she saw on Pinterest or cook something that she saw on Pinterest, and I'm kind of over it.
Yeah, I know.
I haven't even been on the site yet, and I'm tired of it. So, yeah. Love the show?
This site keeps making my girlfriend ask me to do
Okay,
things.
looks good.
Screw
Girlfriend, you're doing it wrong. Okay, throw up there, some, chili recipes or stuff like that. I'm just saying. Come on.
Build me this, honey.
Yeah.
Cook me this, honey. Wow, that's a tough customer there.
Yep.
All right. So there you go. Some of your voicemail with Pinterest. I guess we will play the last voicemail in a little bit, but we just wanted to quickly go over a couple of the emails that we had. One of them was really cool. This was sent to us from Nicole, and Nicole said, "Hi, BOL crew. I think this sums up Pinterest perfectly. It's this really great chart off of Tumblr." She says, "I have a Pinterest account and I am female, but I just don't get it. If I want to share something I find online with my friends, I do it on Facebook or Twitter. If I want to save something for later, I use Instapaper. And if I don't want to make something as to buy, I do it on Amazon. I just don't see how Pinterest fits in." So maybe this is
Let's
where...
examine
Let's
this
look at this
pie chart. So.
According to this completely accurate pie chart, where we have no source of data collection, it looks like a majority of people on Pinterest use it to plan their wedding.
Yeah, there's about 0.2% men, about 0.5% designers, wannabe foodies, and then
tell you
women
something.
planning their wedding.
This, of course, is made up, this chart. But I have to say...
It's still useful.
I have to say, just to be clear about that, because Brian sometimes I'm not sure. But if Pinterest has managed to secure the wedding planning industry... Wow! Good job,
Oh, yeah.
Pinterest business guys.
There's not
Gals.
that's not a bad thing.
Oh, it's huge.
Absolutely.
Brilliant
thing.
business.
So, all right, let's read this other email about Pinterest. This one comes to us from Gloria. "See, ladies, you need to call in. I like how the ladies write, but I'd like to hear you call in as well." But Gloria writes and says, "Hi, Buzz Crew. First, I'm a lady, so maybe what I have to say is not what you're looking for, but I really like Pinterest. I'm planning a wedding, so I'm pulling together images of flowers and hairstyles that I really like to help with inspiration. I also like to find other recipes, pottery. I'm a potter, so I like to see what other people are doing with their work and other creative ideas through Pinterest. But I can see where it's like a niche and market for people with 2 X chromosomes. I do find it overwhelming at times and have trouble with self-curation. We'll see how it changes as it develops. As my fiance, who introduced me to BOL, he said when he discovered I was on the site, certain females love Pinterest. It's true." I didn't want to read the quote directly because I just read it for the first time. I had to be really PC appropriate.
Yeah, no, you did that all too well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I'm around women a lot. All right, I'm not going to do that again, but we do have a final voicemail and then 2 more emails. A final voicemail from our buddy Brett, who we get corrected a lot here. Brett wanted to make a correction of his own.
Hello, this is Brett from Michigan. I just wanted to leave a message in reference to the show last week. Brian Tong said that Shaka Khan sung the Reading Rainbow theme song when it was really Tina Fabric. Shaka Khan came on after the later theme song from 1999 to 2006. All right, love the show. Thank you. Bye.
You had the wrong season, Brian.
I got schooled. What can I say?
And I think we were also trying to say that it was Shaka Tong that had done that, right?
Shaka Tong. That's right.
I would. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay. Dude, I can do anywhere. Okay, Rafe. No,
I'm too old for this. I'm Sesame Street, an
Okay,
electric
that's true.
company.
Yeah, Mr.
Yeah.
Rogers.
Ooh,
Mr.
I like
Rogers.
the
Yeah.
electric company.
Captain Kangaroo.
Ooh.
I go way back.
Ooh, you kind of look like Captain Kangaroo.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know if that's a
Nice
compliment.
reading, by the way.
Thank you. All right, this comes to us. These last two emails. This one comes to us from Tillman. Hello. In response to you guys talking about the stickiness of Facebook, I would have to disagree. I've had Facebook account for literally 2 days before I deleted it. I actually find it kind of boring. To each its own, I guess. Tillman, 845 million people are probably disagreeing with you right now. Just wanted to throw that out there. Also, this one comes to us from Thomas. He says, I was going to say I was having a not amazing day and was just cleaning and listening to your show. Then I hear Brian tell some caller how to spell giveit.com and Pinterest. It made my day. I love the jokes. All right.
There you go.
I'm glad we could offer a service for you like that. Mental health, it's a good thing. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for our show this week. Make sure to check out our show notes and all the links to our stories at bol.cnet.com. You can call us at 800-616-2638. That spells CNET for the last 4 digits. And also email us at buzz@cnet.com. Rafe, thank you very much.
Oh, it's always fun.
He smiles. Donald,
Yes.
thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
You're so pleasant here. Steven's running the show, holding it down as usual. We'll see you guys next week on Thursday. Same time, same bat channel. We'll see you guys. All right, have a great weekend.
Bye.